I am Scriverto AI Limited, head cook and bottle washer. I have a lovely slide deck, but we have no means of presenting it, so I shall probably do it in a slightly different way. I'll tell you a story. A couple of years ago, I was commissioned to write an article for about 5G, specifically network functions, virtualization, and software-defined networking. It's not that important, but I didn't really know a lot about 5G because it was different to what I knew. So I had to go through a research process to write that article. And that research process is very laborious. So typically when you write an article, which SEO content writers will do, which journalists will do, which PR writers will do, people who want to generate content for a living, it might typically take 8 hours to do that, possibly longer. And if 3, 4, 5 hours of that is Googling, researching, understanding, finding candidate content to aggregate, and then using your skill to create an article, then the first half of that I thought, wow, this shouldn't be that difficult. Right? It just shouldn't be this difficult. So because I had that problem, because I had the need for a real world problem that many people have got, arguably millions if you count journalists, there's 2 million English speaking journalists, I decided my mission was to automate that particular process, and I wrote that on my son's old netbook, believe it or not. It was a Python script that would scrape the web and then process using natural language processing modules which exist within Python, because that is the lingua franca for natural language processing, which itself is a branch of AI. Scriverto AI is possibly over marketing the AI bit. It's arguably natural language processing, but natural language processing doesn't really resonate very much with people. So AI. So that netbook turned into a laptop, turned into if you have a platform that supports one user at once, it's not very scalable, should we say. So anyway, there have been many versions of Scriverto, and it now exists in the cloud on AWS. It can support a gazillion users at any one time. It's highly scalable because it's based upon something that AWS call Lambda. And how does it add value? One, because it Googles and searches social media a whole lot faster than you do, a lot faster, as you can imagine. Also, you get concurrency. So it's a multi-stage process. You interact with it, and at the second stage, you will select multiple parts of the output, but possibly up to 15 as it's set now. You will get then 15 concurrent threads which simultaneously will go out to the web and aggregate content according to how you set that up. So the saving, how does it add value? Time. If you can compress a 3 or 4 hour research process into 1 hour, half an hour, that's an incredible amount of value added. I'm aiming for journalists because journalists, there's so many of them, like 2 million of them, and they are time poor. I haven't managed to engage with that market very much thus far, or pilot users in that sector. Who is coming to me are SEO content companies, copywriting companies, who for a living, for a business, are tasked to write articles for other businesses. That's what they do. And they come to me and say, just sort of a little aside, when I do a kind of pitch, a lot of the people think, okay, don't quite understand what that is. The last Techcelerate pitch, we had a whole dialogue about whether or not it was Grammarly. I'm struggling to understand how I managed to miscommunicate that, but it's a whole different deal. But do you know what? I'm not that bothered, because the target user, it seems, comes to me and says, I know exactly what you mean. I really understand that. That could add a lot of value to our organisation. So my task now is to work with pilot users like SEO content companies and figure out how this can dovetail into the way that they work. Because right now it doesn't pass the so what test. It's all very clever, runs in the cloud, it's very scalable. The business model, I think, really stacks up. As a value proposition, it's very attractive. But at the moment, the work is to get that product market fit, and I have some work to do in terms of product development feature set that I can work with pilot users to achieve. That's my
Very
challenge.
good. So, any questions? You took your time, but go on.
Yes, I have a
Absolutely.
question. Do you offer your services only in English for now?
Yes, yeah. I have a lot of work to do in English.
No. Your English is very good.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thanks.
It's better than my Esperanto.
How does the costing model work? How do you charge people?
Good question. So, if you imagine the target user is doing this all the time for a living, largely, and their salary, and you can save, I don't know, 25% of their time, up to 50% of the time, depending on how much.
I mean, like, do you do it per surge?
Yeah,
Like,
so-
alright,
so-
it's not like a fee, like a monthly fee or something.
It is.
Yes.
So it's
Right.
monthly
It's a SaaS
subscription.
product, so.
So, sorry, I was just being
You need to.
a bit waffly.
Yeah,
Okay. £50 per month or $50 per month?
$49.50.
Oh, $49.50.
Yeah.
It is actually $49.50.
It's
You're
a,
right.
come on.
Okay.
can
So
do
it
your
is.
job.
It's $49.50 or $49.50, depending on the region that you're geolocated in. So if you imagine on a monthly subscription, that is nothing compared to the saving you would get for the target user.
And you
So-
got a paid customer now.
Yes, although I put the price up after that. Yeah, so it's something. yeah. I know how important it is. I mean, Gareth has. Well, I've had some really good engagement with Gareth about validation. I mean, not that it's not clear that you need validation for the market, but it's all right me saying, hey, look, isn't this a great idea? What you need really is for the users to vote and say, okay, I'm in. I'm going to get my credit card out. I'm going to give you some money.
Mate, you got
So-
thank you very much, sir. You've
Okay,
taken
thank
too long.
Thank you.
Right, who wants to go next? Nick, you want to go? No?
Sorry, I thought I was last.
No, we're opening up.
He's just throwing us in front of the truck.
It's a small crowd, it's Christmas, and
You need a hook, one of those hooks.
All right. Hi there.
so let's not do the bits that are not working, right? Just
Yeah, mine doesn't work. Anyway, so